My father called me. We're leaving tomorrow. Your car has already been sold. But, I replied, but you forgot one thing. He asked, what are you talking about? I laughed out loud because the car he sold was actually, my name is Adam. I'm 28. Oldest son, designated fixer, emergency contact, ride at midnight, second wallet when someone else forgot. If there's a family photo, I'm the tall shape on the edge with my shoulders turned, like I'm already halfway out of the frame. My brother, Nate, is in the center, always caught mid-laugh, always with a hand on someone's shoulder like a casual king. I work IT support at a logistics company. I know more about barcode scanners than relationships. I live in a small one-bedroom with a view of a brick wall and a sliver of sky that turns orange for 8 minutes at sunset. I drink my coffee black because cream is a luxury I never remember to buy. As a kid, I was the quiet one. Mom would tell people, Adam was born responsible. Dad would add, and born dramatic, when I asked questions he didn't like. Nate was the baby, even after he turned 25, even after he turned 27. In the family storybook written out loud at dinners, Nate was the plot. I was the spine. When I was 10, I saved coins in an old peanut butter jar to buy a used Game Boy from our neighbor. The day I brought it home, proud and shaking, Dad took it from my hands and said, if you can afford toys, you can afford to help. Then sent me to the store for bread and milk with a list and a lecture. That December, Nate unwrapped a brand new console and Dad said, don't say we never give you boys anything. I told myself I didn't care. I told myself that for years while my jaw got stiff from clenching. Adulthood changed the set pieces, but not the script. I did community college and night shifts. I learned how to keep servers alive and printers from screaming. My raises came in clear numbers. My family debts came in soft words like, just for now, and you're so good with accounts, and we'll settle later. I made spreadsheets, rent, utilities, gas bill, grocery runs, and a tab I called boundaries like a joke I swore I'd tell one day. Sundays were the worst. The table full of meatloaf and mashed potatoes. The TV too loud. Aunt Marcy at the corner making comments like they were just facts pinned to the air. Nate's got such a spark. He just needs a runway. Adam's the stable one. He'll help. Everyone would nod like they'd all attended a meeting I'd missed where I volunteered. 2 months ago at one of those dinners, while I scraped plates, I heard Dad say, once Nate's coaching really takes off, the whole family will benefit. Mom murmured, Adam will float us till then. They didn't whisper. They never do. Standing at the sink, I felt like a chair they'd already sat in. Then came last week. It was Tuesday, 7:18 p.m. The timestamp burned into my brain because I had a 6 a.m. deployment window set and was mid-checklist. My phone lit up. Dad. I picked up. Hey. He didn't say hello. He never does when he's about to drop a decision like a bowling ball. We're leaving tomorrow. Your car has already been sold. But, for a second, my brain blue screened. I'm sorry, what? We're leaving tomorrow, he repeated, slower, like I was dim. Your car is sold. It's done. Something in me pried itself off the floor and laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. It was a shock release. But you forgot one thing. What are you talking about? His tone sharpened. The blade he uses when he wants me to know I'm on thin ice he poured. I stared at the ceiling light humming in my kitchen. You forgot that the car you just sold was actually... I stopped. I heard Mom in the background. Mark, who is it? A fork clinked. Nate's voice. Tell him he's welcome. I hung up. I stood in my little kitchen with the fridge whirring and my own heartbeat feeling too loud. I looked at my sticky notes, the deployment steps, a grocery list, eggs, foil, soap, a reminder to book a dentist, like they belonged to someone whose life was smaller and cleaner than mine. At 9:12, my phone buzzed. Mom, don't be petty. It's family. Nate. Bro, wait till you see Europe. Dad. You don't need a car. You can walk. I turned the phone face down. The room pulsed blue, then went dark. I didn't text back. I didn't sleep. I watched the sliver of sky turn from orange to black to gray. Somewhere around 3 a.m., I wrote on the back of an old envelope. What is actually mine? The list came out thin. My bed, my dishes, my laptop, my breath. I wrote car with a question mark because I knew the real answer even if they didn't. At 6:43 a.m., Dad called again, cheery now like a con man. We got a place. Europe for a while. Fresh start. You'll understand when you visit. Fresh start from what? I asked. Dead is a game. They want a pound of flesh. We're not giving it. He said it like wisdom from a movie he half-watched. What does that have to do with my car? Liquidity, he said. We'll pay you back. Translation. We're using your stability as our ATM and calling it love. I put the phone down. I made coffee. I folded laundry that didn't need folding. I held my keys and felt how small they were. Then I put them in my pocket and, for the first time, I let a plan form that wasn't about rescuing anybody. The line of the title came later that night when he doubled down. We're leaving tomorrow. Your car has already been sold. And me. But you forgot one thing. Him, what are you talking about? I laughed out loud because the car he sold was actually never his to sell. It wasn't even that simple. It was the one thing in a long time tied to my name, my job, my rules. They had finally pushed a lever attached to a lock they didn't own. I slept an hour with my shoes on and woke up clear. To understand why that call broke something and fixed something, you need the long version. The years of little hooks they set in me because I held still. Age 16, Nate backed Dad's truck into a mailbox. Side mirror shattered. Dad handed me the problem. You're the responsible one. Handle it. I paid $380 from summer paychecks. Ate instant noodles. Told myself it was fine because family shares. Nate posted a photo captioned, "Oops," and got 50 likes. Age 19. The gas bill temporarily in my name because Mom said the online portal made her head spin. Temporary turned into 7 years. Every time I mentioned switching it back, she'd rub her wrist and say stress gives her a rash, then text me a photo of a tiny pink patch as proof. Age 22. Nate's third major didn't stick, so I co-signed his apartment just to get him on his feet. First 2 months he paid. Third month he forgot. Fourth month he was investing in himself with a course from a guy who sells courses. I covered $1,200, then $1,200 again, because eviction notices come for both names, and one of those names belonged to me at a job that runs background checks. Age 23. Mom asked if I could add Nate to my phone plan for a bit. A bit grew legs and a mailing address. I watched charges appear for ringtone apps in 2023 and told myself to breathe. Age 24 to 27. The wedding that almost happened 3 times. Deposits that went out like weather balloons and popped. Each time Mom said, "We'll get it back." Each time I watched my account and saw refunds trickle toward everyone but me. Nate bought a motorcycle for content. He said sponsors would cover it. Sponsors did not cover it. I bought 2 helmets because I have never not done the safe thing. When I finally bought my hatchback, 5 years old, low mileage, neat service history, it felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Not a flashy thing, just solid. The kind of car that says, "I will start when you ask." I joined the employee leasing program at work because the tax math made sense. The car was mine, titled to me, but linked to our fleet agreement. It came with rules, maintenance at specific shops, no private sale outside the program, a tracker under the dash the size of a matchbox. The boring details I actually like. The boring details that protect you if anyone ever tries to get casual with your property. First month, the car smelled like new plastic and lemon wipes. Second month, it smelled like Nate's body spray. He borrowed it to show a house and returned it with a different air freshener swinging from the mirror. "I'll refill the tank," he said. He did once. $14. After that, the gas level was whatever mood he was in. Mom started calling it our car. The first time she did, the word slid past me. The third time, it caught. "Our car will be so helpful when we move your father's tools," she'd say. And then, "Nate needs our car for a date." And when I hesitated, "Don't be petty. You don't even go anywhere." I tried humor. "I go to work." She didn't laugh. 3 months before the call, Dad said the house taxes were behind. It's just timing, which is his way of saying it's a hole, throw in money. He needed $2,400 by Friday. I pulled it from my emergency fund because that's the story I tell myself. I'm a man who does the right thing, even when it hurts. The emergency stretched into another $900 for the electric because Nate left the AC on. My spreadsheet kept up like a polite secretary, adding lines under bills I shouldn't have. Then Nate got engaged to Bryn, who is kind when we're alone and posts quotes about pruning your circle when we're not. The venue they wanted looked like a Pinterest board. The deposit was a number that made me swallow twice. Mom sent a link with, "Isn't it beautiful?" We all contribute. I offered to pay for chairs. She said chairs were included. I offered to shoot photos on my old DSLR. She said, "We want professionals, Adam." I said I couldn't give more. She didn't talk to me for 3 days. On the 4th, she texted, "You've changed," like it was a crime. In the middle of all this, I built tiny rituals to stay sane. Sunday night, portion pasta into 3 plastic containers for the week. Monday morning, wipe down the kitchen counter. Wednesday, therapy search tab open, never booked. Saturday, drive around the lake and park under a streetlight. Listen to a podcast where people talk about boundaries like they're tools, not weapons. I kept a note on my phone titled Lines. It had sentences I wanted to say out loud one day. No, I can't do that. I won't be adding my name. That doesn't work for me. You'll have to figure that out. Every time I practiced in my head, something smaller came out of my mouth in real life. A shrug, a joke, silence. The day before the call, Dad texted, "Bring the car by early tomorrow. Nate has errands." I typed, "No, I need it for work," and felt like I'd committed a felony. He replied, "Well, manage." I didn't know what manage meant until he called with his declaration. When he said, "Your car has already been sold," my first thought was how. The keys were on my counter. The title was in my desk. The registration was in the glove box. Then I remembered the photo Nate had posted the week before. Him in front of my hatchback, hand extended like a salesman, captioned, "New chapter, tag location set to our driveway." It got 100 thumbs up. People wrote, "Proud of you, King," like pride is transferable by comment. In the picture, in the corner of the windshield, the tiny fleet sticker reflected. Most people wouldn't notice. I notice. It has a number that connects to our company's vehicle desk. I stared at that photo for 20 minutes the night he posted it and thought, this is going to be a problem. Then I put the thought in a shoebox in my brain, slid it under a mental bed, and told myself, "You're overreacting." This is the thing about being the stable one. Everyone treats your stability like a public utility. Use as needed. Bill later. The call blew the cover off the shoebox. Suddenly, all the little hooks tugged at once. I wrote a plan. It had 3 parts. Secure the car. Say no out loud. Don't justify beyond one sentence. I also wrote, do not save them from the consequences you didn't create. Then I circled it. At 7:15 the next morning, before work, I drove to my parents' house. I parked 2 blocks away. I wanted to see if my car had grown a second set of keys overnight. It hadn't. I sat there and practiced the word no under my breath until it sounded normal. Then I walked to the house and knocked like a stranger. The door was open because someone had wedged a suitcase in it. The hallway smelled like hairspray and toast, and the lemon cleaner Mom uses when company is coming. Suitcases lined the wall like guests at attention. Bryn's glittery bags sparkled from the chair like a small, expensive animal. The TV was on a morning show with anchors laughing the way anchors do. The volume was up too loud because in our house, silence needs drowning. Nate came out of the kitchen with a piece of toast in his mouth, grinning like I'd arrived to drive them to the airport. He said, because he always drags the word when he wants to turn reality into his party. "Did you bring the docs?" "What docs?" I asked. He glanced over his shoulder at Dad, who was scrolling on his phone at the table. "Title, registration, whatever. You don't need a car title to get on a plane," I said. "And you didn't sell my car." Dad didn't look up. "Don't start," he said. Mom appeared from the hallway, lipstick half applied. "Adam," she said, that warning tone that means you're about to disappoint us. "We're on a schedule." "You didn't sell my car," I repeated, steady. "You handed someone a piece of paper that isn't legal and promised him something you can't promise." Dad finally raised his eyes, smirk loaded. "We got $9,500. It's done." "From whom?" I asked. "What's his name? Why do you care?" Nate chimed in. "You'll get your cut. Chill." There was a small click inside me, like a lock turning. "No," I said. The room paused. Even the TV felt quieter. Mom lowered her lipstick. "Adam," she said, softer now, bargaining voice, "don't ruin this. Your brother needs a fresh start." "He's had 12 fresh starts," I said. "He's compost at this point." Dad's face hardened. "Watch it." I kept my voice low. "You didn't sell my car because you can't. It's titled to me and tied to my company's fleet. The contract forbids private sale. There's a tracker in the dash. The keys," I patted my pocket, "are with me. The title is in my desk. The bill of sale you wrote on a pad is a napkin. All you sold was a story to a man who's about to call me." Silence. Somewhere on the TV, a blender word. A plane took off in B-roll. Mom tried tears. "We're your family." "I know," I said. "That's why I'm telling you before the police do. The buyer will get a refund when the fleet office calls him. Today, you can still go to the airport. You can still start over. You just can't fund it with my name." Nate laughed, but it sounded wrong. "Bro, you're making this complicated." "No," I said. "I'm making it accurate." Dad stood up. He's not tall, but he has presence the way a storm cloud does. "We fed you. We clothed you. You owe." "I don't owe you my credit score," I said. "I don't owe you my car. I don't owe you my sleep. I have covered taxes, electric bills, rent notices that weren't mine. You told me I was the responsible one, and that was code for donor." "Lower your voice," Mom hissed. It's already low, I said. Listen, this isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I'm done being the fallback fund. Bryn hovered in the doorway, mascara wand paused. What's happening? She whispered to Nate. Nothing, Nate said. He's having a moment. I pulled a folded paper from my pocket and put it on the table. This is the last 12 months. $2,400 house taxes, $900 electric, $1,200 rent for Nate, $1,200 again when he forgot, $600 non-refundable deposit for a venue you two posted about and then ghosted. I'm not asking for repayment. I'm telling you the account is closed. Dad glanced at the paper without touching it. You keeping score like that is sick. Family doesn't keep score, Aunt Marcy once said. And what she meant was family owes Adam infinity. I looked at him and said, someone has to, or the game never ends. Phone started buzzing. Dad's first, then Mom's, then Nate's. Same unknown number, probably. The buyer. The chorus of consequences arriving on time for once. I'm taking my car now, I said. If you need a ride, call an Uber. If you need money, sell your own things. If you need help, ask someone else first. If they say no, ask them again. If they still say no, learn a new way. I won't be the only answer anymore. Mom's face was wet now. You would leave us stranded? You're not stranded, I said. You're inconvenienced. There's a difference. Dad stepped toward me, voice low. You think you're better than us because you have a little money. I think I'm separate from you, I said. That's new. I put the spare fob in my palm, felt its weight, then slipped it back into my pocket. The theater of the gesture wasn't for them. It was for me. I turned and walked out. No slam. No big speech. Just the sound of the TV and the buzzing phones and my own steps on the porch I painted years ago for family labor, while Nate hosted a live stream on Grindset. Outside, the air was bright in the aggressive way morning air can be. I rounded the corner to where I'd parked. My hands shook when the car chirped at the unlock. I sat in the driver's seat and stared at my face in the rearview mirror. Older than I felt, younger than I'd acted. My phone buzzed 19 times by the time I reached the end of the block. At the stop sign, I said out loud, to no one, to myself, no is a full sentence. It sounded like the first real thing I'd said in years. The first hour felt like an exam. Could I resist the urge to turn around and fix the mess? Could I resist the compulsion to explain myself until they forgave me for saving my own life? I drove to work. The parking lot was a grid of sedans making quiet adult decisions. I badged in. I nodded to the front desk. My boss, Joel, stuck his head over my cubicle wall at 9:02. You good? Family stuff, I said. He made the face managers make when they want you to know they're human. If you need time. I'm okay. For once, it was mostly true. At 10 o'clock, I pushed the update. No errors. I breathed through each step. For 2 hours, the world made sense. Run script. Watch logs. Confirm green. I drank water. I answered 2 tickets. I wrote a note to myself. You can do hard things without drama. At lunch, I checked my phone. 47 missed calls. 19 texts. 3 voicemails from an unknown number. All variations of, I think I bought your car from your dad. I forwarded the number to the fleet office with a concise email. Family attempted unauthorized sale. Buyer contacting me. Please advise. The rep replied within minutes. We've already spoken to him. He'll be refunded by the seller. Your vehicle is flagged okay. Sorry you're going through this. I nearly cried from gratitude at a sentence that treated me like a person with a problem solvable by policy. At 12:36, Mom, we missed our flight because of you. I hope you're happy. 12:37, we rebooked for tonight. We persevere. 12:40, you humiliated us. Your brother is heartbroken. The word heartbroken sat between crying emojis like a decoration on a cake I didn't order. At 2:10, Dad sent a manifesto. You will regret this. We sacrificed. You're ungrateful. Family is everything. At 2:12, a threat. Bring the car by 5 or I'll report it stolen. I screenshotted. I replied, please do. The contract is clear. He didn't text again. At 3:40, 8 missed calls from Mom. Then a text. Where's the spare key? At 4:06, why are you vindictive? At 4:09, a photo of the empty driveway like proof of my crimes. At 4:30, a voice note of shaky breathing and, Adam, you're killing me. I put the phone face down and watched the light crawl across my desk like a patient animal. At 5:15, Aunt Marcy. Sweetie, your mother is unwell. Be the bigger person. Me. I've been the bigger person for 28 years. I'm trying the right size. She hung up. That night, I made pasta and oversalted it. I ate it anyway. I took a walk and looked at windows lit up in other people's lives. I made a list titled what I did / what I didn't do. What I did: said no, stayed calm, stated terms, secured my property, put responsibility back where it belonged. What I didn't do: call the police on my family, contact the buyer to gloat, post on Facebook, send the spreadsheet to the group chat, use words I'd regret. It helped. Not like a miracle, like a small weight moving off my lungs. Day 2, the buyer left one more voicemail. Got my refund. Fleet lady was firm. Good luck. I deleted it and felt the door close gently. Nate texted at 8:22. Bro, I'm sorry you feel. I closed it. Then, we made the flight. We're out. A selfie in an airport bar. Bryn throwing peace signs. Mom smiling like a sticker. Dad's jaw set to granite. I stared long enough for guilt to rise and fall. I whispered, have a safe trip, to the empty room and put the phone down. Day 3. I removed my card from their streaming services. Netflix asked, are you sure? I said yes. I called the gas company and canceled autopay. The rep said, you've been paying a long time. I said, I'm done. She said, good for you, in a tone that made me want to hug her. Day 4. I booked therapy. First available was next Tuesday. I didn't cancel it. Day 5. Mom sent a photo of a balcony with the caption, see what you're missing. I didn't respond. Later, a voice note. We love you, but you made this ugly. I pressed play on silence. Day 6. I slept through the night. Woke up surprised like I'd found money in a coat. Made coffee. Didn't check my phone first. Stood by the window and watched a bird hop along the fire escape like the world had always been this simple. Day 7. Work called me into an HR room. My stomach fell. The HR rep smiled kindly. Your dad left a voicemail about a company car dispute ruining a family trip. We're not involved. Just letting you know we deleted it. I laughed, then covered my face because I was suddenly crying. Sorry, I said. No need to be. She handed me a tissue. Take your time. Day 8. Aunt Marcy again. Your mother isn't sleeping. Can you apologize so she can heal? I typed, I love Mom. I'm available to talk when she can acknowledge what happened and accept my boundaries. She replied, wow. No follow-up. Day 9. I drove to the lake at sunset. I adjusted the seat to exactly how I like it. I set the AC to low. I didn't smell Nate's spray. I listened to a podcast about people who stopped being the family plug. The host said, boundaries are kindness with a backbone. I wrote it in my phone. Day 10. A text from Mom without emojis. We land next Tuesday. Can we talk Wednesday? I typed yes. Ground rules. Public place. No yelling. We discuss our own bills, not each other's. She liked the message, a small blue heart that felt like a truce flag folded into a pocket. Wednesday came like a regular day. At 5:57 p.m., I slid into a booth at the diner where they used to take us after Little League. The waitress still called me honey like time was a trick. Mom and Dad were already there. Mom looked smaller. Dad looked like a chair carved from an old tree. Hi, I said. Hi, Mom said, hands around her water like it could anchor her. Dad nodded. We ordered without the old performance. No who's paying, jokes. No, Adam, get the tip. The pancakes arrived. The syrup was the same cheap brand it had always been. Maybe that's why I felt safe. Mom spoke first. We didn't handle things well. She swallowed. I didn't handle things well. I waited for the but. It didn't come. Her hands shook. I use you like a solution. I'm sorry. Dad stared at the table. I'll pay you back, he said to the syrup. I shook my head. I didn't ask for that. He bristled. You made a list. For me, I said, to prove I'm not crazy. We ate. We let silence sit. We didn't fold it up with jokes. I slid a paper across the table. 3 lines. I won't be responsible for Nate's bills, rent, school, car, or wedding. You won't attach my name to credit or utilities. If I say no, you accept it the first time. Mom read. She nodded. Okay. Dad tried a half smile. What about rides to the airport? It was almost funny. Uber, I said. He surprised me. Fine. The check came. Dad paid. He didn't sigh. He didn't make a face about the tip. Outside, he looked at my hatchback like it was a person he'd misjudged. That's a good little car. It is, I said. That night, I didn't sleep perfectly, but I didn't dream about being chased by bills wearing my family's faces. Progress, not miracle.